Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending today's Trinity Financing Investor Conference. For our last presenter, we have Standard Uranium traded on the TSXV under the ticker STND.V and on the OTC under the ticker STTDF. We're joined by CEO Jon Bey and VP of Exploration Sean Hilliker. Okay.
Thank you very much, Jimmy. It's a pleasure to be here. Today, myself, Jon Bey, and Sean Hilliker will introduce Standard Uranium to your audience. So, first of all, it's a pleasure to be part of this conference, and I hope everyone has some great insights after watching this presentation. So, from the top, Standard Uranium, we are a Canadian junior exploration company focused on uranium, pure uranium, and we're all in Canada in the Athabasca Basin of Saskatchewan. This map you're looking at right now is the Athabasca Basin, which is the northern part of Saskatchewan. And you can see a number of those white circles around the basin. Those are our 13 projects. In the southwest corner, you can see the Davidson River Project. That is our flagship project, and we're going to be primarily talking about that project today. The theory we have is we've got a great land package with hopes of making a high-grade uranium discovery. We want to provide the fuel to power a clean energy future. And for those of you that are unaware, uranium is the fuel that powers nuclear reactors and clean energy all across the globe. And the world is moving to a cleaner future, and uranium and nuclear is going to be a large part of that. On top of being an exploration company, we're also a project generator. And what that means is we have other companies join with us to pay for exploration to actually work on some of our projects. And we get paid cash and shares, and they pay us to operate those projects. And we'll get into that on a later slide. So let's go to the next slide, Sean. So what's essential if you're going to explore for uranium and anything actually in Canada is you've got to have a number of things working for you. Number one, you have to have a team of geologists that know what they've done. We have built a team of 5 in-house uranium-specific geologists, all working with Sean in Saskatchewan out of our Saskatoon office. Our projects are not just area plays. We actually have staked each project specifically for their merit, and they have great geological merit. Number 3, First Nations are essential. If you're going to work in this part of the world, in most parts of the world, you have to have good First Nations partners that actually want work to get done and want to work with you. I can tell you that we have got First Nations agreements across all of our projects, and that is remarkable. Exploration permits go hand in hand with that. If you can't get exploration permits, you can't do the work. Since we've been working in this part of the region for over a decade, we've got great relationships with the government, and we can get permits done with the help of our First Nations very quickly. And all our projects are permitted right now for exploration. Once you have those things, you have to have people to do the work. Saskatchewan has a great workforce, and on top of that, we have skilled vendors such as drill companies, helicopters, camp providers. All those are in place across all our projects. And of course, you need capital. If you want to work your projects, you have to have access to capital, and capital becomes available when people are excited about the sector you're in, and people are excited about nuclear and uranium. So right now is a great time to be investing with uranium companies. Our board and management have also got experience across the uranium sector, the capital markets, working in Canada, the US, and around the globe. So thank you. Next slide. Here's a quick company snapshot. You can see the map of the Athabasca Basin on the right side of the page here. You can see all those projects, and you can see a couple things that are kind of key. The bottom left corner, you can see the Davidson River Project in blue. That sits beside some world-class uranium deposits, which we're going to get into next. I mentioned our strong team. Nuclear power is going through a great renaissance right now, and we've got some great short-term catalysts, including a follow-up exploration drilling program on our Davidson River Project about to start in the next month. Next slide. So here's a quick snapshot looking at who our team is. In the top left, that's myself. I'm the chair, the founder, and the CEO. Neil McCallum joined us as one of our first directors and lead technical director when we started the company back in 2017. Sean Hilliker next. Sean joined us in 2020. Sean had a great run with a company called Next Gen Energy. Sean joined them right out of university, spent 7 years with them from the time of discovery of the Arrow project right up until he helped write the feasibility study. Sean also did his master's degree on their Arrow deposit. And that is crucial because that Arrow deposit is right across the street from our flagship Davidson River, and that's what we're going to be exploring next. Next, we have Vivian Chuang. She is our newly appointed CFO. She came to us from the Jasper Fiore Group. She is a great CFO. We're really happy to have her on board. Mike Young is an independent ex-CEO of a uranium company called Vimy. He's now based back in Canada. Zoya Sheskova, she is part of our audit and financial team. Blair Jordan and Ken Judge, both lawyers, and Blair comes from a banking background, and Ken more the capital markets and M&A side. So that's our team. Next slide. Okay, this is a slide showing you the southwest corner of the Athabasca Basin of Saskatchewan. That big blue project on the bottom left corner, that is our Davidson River flagship project. You can see by looking around this map, there are many other peer companies. NextGen to our north and east, Orano, $30 billion company, Paladin directly to our east, which is now a $3 billion company. They just acquired Fission and the Triple R deposit. And then NextGen, of course, has their Arrow deposit. We see Orano, we see PurePoint, we see Cameco, a $40 billion company. And of course, Davidson River with an incredible land package right in the middle of this. Sean Hilliker, our VP of Exploration and President, is going to walk us through some of the geology of this region and why we're so excited about working Davidson River again. So please, Sean, hop in here and then talk to us about the project.
Thanks, John. Sounds good. So as John mentioned, this is kind of where I cut my teeth in the uranium business. I've been a uranium geoscientist for the last 12 years, and this is my stomping ground. So when I came over in 2020, our main exploration thesis here was to essentially copy and paste what we did at NextGen, and find the next world-class basement hosted uranium deposit in this area. So I'm going to walk through a few things on why we think we can do that and why we are positioned to do that, from a geoscience perspective, as well as experience perspective with the team that we've built. So as John mentioned, in this area, this has kind of been a hotbed of exploration over the last decade since the discovery of Triple R and Arrow in 2012, 2013, and then a number of other discoveries you can see all around us. So Davidson River is more than 30,000 hectares. You can see the project here again, outlined in blue. We've got 70 kilometers of prospective strike length, and I'm going to talk to you about why that's important today as well. So on this map and on the previous map, you can see all these gray corridors, these gray lines on the map. Those represent what we call conductors, and that's just simply packages of rocks with graphite in them. So since they have graphite and sulfide minerals in them, they create a conductive response, and we can actually map those out with geophysics. So you can see that pretty much all of the discoveries and deposits in this area sit along those trends, those conductor trends. And we like to say, a lot of people in the business like to say like pearls on a string. So you can see Triple R, you can see Arrow, Spitfire, and a number of these other ones. You just see them sitting along those corridors. So that's important because these conductors actually create the plumbing system for the uranium to come in and create a deposit. So in simple terms, that's what we're looking at here. And as John mentioned, Davidson River is not just an area play. So this map shows that pretty well. In this area, in the southwestern Athabasca Basin, the rocks are actually folded up to the northwest, right through our project. So we know that there's world-class uranium endowment over here in the eastern side of this limb with Arrow, Triple R, Spitfire, and others, and the new PCE discovery as well by NextGen. And then our whole exploration thesis and, for Davidson River was we expect to see the exact same thing over here on the western side. And with the new discovery of the JR zone, the previous discovery of Smart Lake, as well as the new Tetra zone there as well, we're starting to see high-grade discoveries be made over on the western limb of this fold. So the main takeaway here is we are in the same rocks, along the same trends, and it's essentially a geological mirror image of what we were seeing at the Arrow deposit at NextGen and with Triple R. So we've drilled this project a few times. That was the first step and box to check, was to come over here, start drilling. No one had ever drilled this area before until we got our hands on it. So the first thing we wanted to do was prove out, do we actually have those same rocks on the project? And the answer is yes. So a few core photos here from our past drill programs, just kind of proving that out. These dark colored rocks down here within the Wario and Bronco corridors, those are those conductors I was talking about. You can see that they look like your pencil lead. They are full of graphite, reactivated, broken up, and creating that plumbing system for the uranium to come in. So that's a big check mark there. These look just like the rocks we were pulling out at NextGen around the Arrow discovery and before we made that discovery. Another couple important things to note is, we have the plumbing system. Do we have the fluids that we need to create a uranium deposit? We've got elevated uranium across all 4 corridors. We've got other interesting alteration types that are typically associated with uranium. And now we're just vectoring in, looking for that high grade hit. And I'm going to tell you how we're leveraging some really new and exciting technology to do that here. So we haven't actually been back to drill Davidson River since 2022. We've done in total a few drill programs there, just over 16,500 meters. But like I said, the scale and of the corridors and strike length and this project, we're just scratching the surface here. So what we've been doing recently in the background is partnering with a few different technology companies. One of those is Gold Spot Discoveries, ALS now. We've done some really interesting work with them, leveraging some AI and machine learning techniques. What we've done there is looked at data sets that we have over top of the Davidson River Project and compared those directly to data sets that are publicly available over top of Arrow, over top of Triple R, and we know what the footprints of those deposits look like. So what we did was train an algorithm to go through our data and compare it line by line with the data over top of those known deposits. So lo and behold, the Davidson River Project lit up like a Christmas tree, and now we have that layer of data to help us target going forward as well. So more recently than that, we partnered with another company called Fleet Space Technologies. They are out of Australia, actually an aerospace company that is kind of taking the mineral exploration space by storm. So we're really excited to be working with them. They identified this project as the highest potential to make a new discovery in this region. They've been working with a couple other big uranium players in the basin, namely UEC, ISO Energy, over on the eastern side of the basin. So we're actually the first ones to partner with them and do this type of survey in the southwestern Athabasca Basin. So on this map here, you can see Davidson River once again, our 4 major trends, Saint, Warrior, Bronco, and Thunderbird, as well as the 3 survey areas that we did with Fleet Space in highlighted in green there. So it was really interesting working with them and coming in. They believe in this project as well and actually came in for equity in the company to get this first survey done in this region. So we're all very excited with what we're seeing so far from that survey. So these surveys were just completed. We're getting the data back and processing that now. And without getting too technical or into the weeds here, essentially what this technology is going to do is help us image the subsurface and give us indications on where these big alteration systems and arrow type targets are along the 70 kilometers of strike length. So this image here, I'll just flip back one more slide here. We're looking at, I'll give you a couple examples here on the Bronco corridor. So we're looking at this cross section here along this Bronco grid. Looking east here, you can see the few of the drill holes that we've drilled. And like I said, we're just imaging and get a 3D model of the subsurface to help us vector into new targets. So key things we're looking at are these big features in the subsurface that indicate big significant structural traps that, like I said, in those plumbing systems, this is how it traps and forms uranium deposits in simple terms. So you can see the striking resemblance here with this feature to this idealized model of a basement hosted uranium deposit here. So these are the types of things we're getting excited about, that we're seeing in the data and that have not been tested yet on this project. So we can leverage this new data with Fleet Space to start mapping these big structures out, looking where the plumbing systems open up and provide space for uranium deposits to come in. So this is a key feature of the Arrow deposit, of the Triple R deposit. It's all structurally hosted within these plumbing systems, like I said. So adding on to that, we did 2 other types of geophysics at the same time. We called this a multi-physics survey. So we actually did 2 types of passive seismic and then gravity as well. How we found Arrow essentially is a gravity target with an EM target. So we haven't had that key layer of data on Davidson River yet to target. So that's what we've added with this. That's what we're really excited about, and we're going to be going back to drill this summer. John, do you want to make a comment there on our JV model here before I walk through Sundog and Corvo?
Yeah, exactly. So as Sean and I alluded to earlier, on top of being a pure exploration company, we actually have JV agreements in place with several companies. Sundog is a perfect example of that. This is going into year 2. How it works is we will stake a project and then we will spend our own money advancing that project until it's ready to be explored further by drilling. And how that works is we'll do some geophysics, we'll do some ground truth sampling, and then we'll have all the permits in place. We'll get the First Nations agreements in place. We'll get all the vendors lined up, and then our team of geologists will actually run the project for the new partner. So we'll find another company that's coming into the space. 2023 was a great example when many companies that used to be other companies, whether they were lithium or other sectors, they decided they wanted to be uranium companies. And the best place for projects is the Athabasca Basin. So they showed up where we are. They couldn't get land because the place was completely staked up. And if they could get land, they couldn't find vendors to drill it. They couldn't find geologists that knew what they were doing. So we had the perfect opportunity. They could come partner with us and spend money on our projects to earn into one of our projects. So we made several of our projects available. The Sundog is one of those. And Arrow came along and became our partner. So typically, how our typical deal works for us is it's a 3-year earn-in. So over 3 years, they will pay us cash and shares, and they will pay us to operate the project, and they can earn up to most likely 75% of that project, and we keep 25%. On top of that, we keep a 2.5% NSR. So it's great for us. It's great for them. They get to come into the project. They get exposure to the Athabasca Basin and uranium, and our company gets to work the project, keep 25%, and have cash and shares coming in, which basically covers our G&A and is a nice project generator revenue model. So we, as an exploration company, actually generate revenue, which is a fantastic opportunity for our shareholders and for our team to move those projects forward. So Sundog, why don't you walk us through Sundog, Sean, and then take us into Corvo as well?
Sounds good. So this project is up by Uranium City. Obviously, Uranium City is aptly named. There's uranium everywhere up here. We talk a lot about high grade uranium. When I say high grade, I'm talking about anything more than 1% U3O8. So, compared to other places and other producing places around the globe, the grades here in the Athabasca Basin are really what makes this place special. So you can see a few of the examples here. 17%, 12%, 9.5% right at surface here, which makes this one of the really unique projects in our portfolio. And again, on this map, you can see these red and orange lines coming through here. Those, once again, are the conductors, that plumbing system for the uranium. There's actually a past producing mine on this project as well called Gunner, produced about 18 million pounds there historically through the 50s through to the early 80s. And we are kind of coming back and breathing new life into this area with our modern technology and modern understanding of how these deposits form. So, as John mentioned, we are now into year 2 with our partners at Arrow Energy on this project. So we've drilled this in the past, hit some uranium in most holes. We're looking for that high grade intersection, things over 1%, and we're vectoring in on that, testing new areas, doing new surveys, and we actually just completed a gravity survey up here, and we've got brand new targets next to the uranium hits that we did have last summer. So we got another drill program lined up to get executed on this, which will again be funded by our partners at Arrow Energy and operated by us. So we're excited to get back up into this area as we've been developing targets here over the last few months. Flipping over to the east side of the basin, on this map here, you can see a number of our other projects, as well as the 2 current producing mines, Cigar Lake, McArthur River, and then all the infrastructure and other deposits and discoveries over on this part of the world. So I'll highlight Corvo here. This is a new deal that we just got done with our partners at Aventus Energy. I was actually just up in the field there, trudging through the forest, looking for high grade with our technical team, and we had some good success to go ground truth some of these historical uranium showings. This project, like Sundog, is quite unique, having uranium right at surface, which doesn't usually happen in this area. So it's very exceptional. You can see the road coming up here. It's very, very accessible project, and I'll highlight the Manhattan showing on this map, which is that red oval highlighted up there in the northern part of the project. So that has historical samples of almost 6% right at surface, 6% U3O8. So we wanted to get in there, get boots on the ground, and ground truth that showing, as well as several others across the project. So we did just finish that last month. And we're looking at brand new data on here. You can see once again, there's our plumbing system. We've got almost 30 kilometers of strike length on this project, ripe for discovery here as well. So we've completed new geophysics there, and we'll continue to ground truth and then do another geophysical survey in the winter to have our drill targets ready for our maiden drill program with Aventus next winter. So looking forward to what we can uncover on this one, and really good indications that we can get into something exciting here as well. Back to you, Jon.
Thank you, Sean. Yeah, it's good for listeners to understand that a typical deal like the Corvo one, which was signed a few months ago, a cash payment is like $50,000 in year one, $125,000 in shares, and then a commitment of $750,000 of exploration work in year one. Moving on to year two, those numbers pretty much double. I think it's 1.5 million spent on the ground, and the shares is both double, and the cash I think goes up to $75,000 for the year. So it's a great way to drive cash into the company shares and keep our projects working. So this is a final slide of our presentation, some corporate information. You can see our stock chart there. People ask us, what happened? Why that big blip back in early June? There was a couple things that happened. Number one, we announced, you can check our news releases, we joined the back office with the group called the Jasper Group, which is partnered with the Fiore Group. They are very well recognized in the mining space. We've added Gord Keep to our advisory group, and we added in a new CFO and corporate secretary. So people really like that movement. On top of that, Sprott has an energy fund called SPUT, and they announced that they were going to acquire more uranium from the spot market. So they announced a $100 million raise, and they quickly doubled that to $200 million. And that got the uranium market pretty excited. And the spot price of uranium jumped from $70 to $80 in a week. Now, over the next several months, that trickled back down to where we sit today at around $71. So that's typically what happened with most stock charts. They sort of followed that the movement of the spot price of uranium. So you can see our capital structure. We've got 78 million shares outstanding, 102 fully diluted. You can see our share price and market cap. It's a great opportunity to get to know Standard Uranium, because as we begin this next drill program on Davidson River, that is the opportunity for shareholders to really have success in this region. Uranium, is very unique. A uranium discovery in a high grade can have a massive impact on the share price. Many of our peers have had, movements of 5x, 10x, 20x on a successful drill program. So that's what we're trying to do, make a high grade uranium discovery in this region. And we know if we do that, it's going to be game on, and we're really happy for us and our shareholders. So thank you very much. That is the basis of our presentation today. And I'm going to invite Jimmy to come back and ask us a few questions. So come on back, Jimmy.
Very good. Thank you for that. I'm cognizant of time. We do have just about 3 to 4 minutes, and I do have quite a few questions, some more technical too. So I'll run through it very quickly, and we'll see what we can get to. Number one, the physics modeling at Bronco integrates ANT, HVSR, and gravity. How confident are you in your structural interpretation when correlating these data sets with drill intercepts to date?
That's a great question. So it's a unique situation, that we've already drilled this project and then came back to do those surveys. So the ANT, HVSR are the passive seismic, like I mentioned. So that gives us a good layering model and allows us to correct for the overburden and that cover sequence that we're not interested in, and actually image into the basement. So identifying these different structural features, using that technology is pretty, I'm very confident in it. Actually, it's pretty reliable. And then having that drill hole data there with our already interpreted structures, this totally backs it up. So it's nice to already have our existing structural model vindicated and validated by this new data set. So that's what we're seeing. And then in addition to that, using the ANT and HVSR, we can actually terrain correct the gravity, which is the key piece here. So that gravity outlines these alteration signatures, which is, like I said, kind of the piece that we've been missing. We've been hitting the plumbing. We've got the uranium in the system, but where is that big juicy alteration system around the high grade? That's what we're looking for. That's what the gravity shows us. Like I said, that is essentially what Arrow was a gravity bullseye with an EM brake. So comparing that, using that exploration thesis, we can allow ourselves to target effectively and use this new data set to really help us vector in where along those conductors to drill next.
Next one, at the current market cap with multiple district scale land packages, how are you thinking about optionality? Are you considering spinning out assets or selling minority interests to fund core exploration without further dilution?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's exactly why we transitioned to the project generator model, Jimmy. So back in 2023, we made that shift and immediately had interest from several partners. We currently have 2 projects under JV deals and 2 more in the works right now. Having those second tier projects of ours do the JV model allows us to drive cash flow in and also keep our team working all year round with upside and all those projects getting worked. On top of that, we have done 1 deal already to sell off a 90% of one of our projects, and that is another model we will look at for second tier. We don't have plans to do that with Davidson River, our flagship, just our second tier, and that does bring in non-dilutive cash flow throughout the year. So it's wonderful to have that optionality to do that.
Are you vectoring oh, this is a technical. Are you vectoring towards a basement hosted unconformity model, or are you seeing signatures more consistent with overlying sandstone hosted targets like those at McArthur River?
Great question. It totally depends on the project. So on Davidson River, like the biggest value proposition we have here is, discovering the next Arrow deposit, so to speak. So that target on Davidson River is purely basement hosted high grade uranium, just like the Arrow deposit. So that's what makes Arrow special as well, is it's different than those big deposits that are producing like Cigar Lake or McArthur River over on the eastern side of the basin, or Hurricane, that is, one of the best resources in the world sitting there waiting to be mined, which is a completely sandstone hosted deposit. So depending on where you are in the Athabasca Basin, that model changes. And, we always like to look at the 2 end members, but, some of these are kind of combination deposits where you have a sandstone component and then you have that basement root as well. But on Davidson River, what we're looking for is a basement hosted deposit, just like Arrow, and then over on our eastern projects, we're exploring for unconformity related uranium as well. But for instance, as well, we're at Corvo. We are just outside of the basin as well, so no sandstone cover there. Very shallow targets and a basement model there as well. So that's another thing just to look at across our projects, is all the targets we're looking for are also very shallow. We're not looking at kilometers deep and that type of thing. So if we find something on any one of these 13 projects, the economics should work out nicely in our favor.
We have probably 4 more, I think. So I'll just hit one more. This one seems
Okay.
pretty interesting. Just big picture, how are you preparing to capitalize on market attention in Q4 when seasonality favors uranium? Is there investor visibility strategy or an inflection point that is being targeted? How are you going to be updating the market?
Yeah, that's a great question. So those that aren't aware, there is great seasonality in the uranium space. Typically, as the summer goes through, it's pretty quiet, and the stock market is usually pretty flat. As we get to the end of August and into September, there is the World Nuclear Conference, which kicks off in London each season. That is the big sort of starting point of the year, and we'll have to see all the uranium companies, all the fund managers, all the people heavily involved in the uranium space will all be there, and that sort of kicks off negotiations on contracts, and we start to see utilities sign deals with the major uranium developers and producers. And that usually we start to see a nice run in the spot price of uranium, which kicks off a lot of excitement in the space. Retail market gets excited again. For us, we're going to be marketing hard as well. We're actually starting our next drill program on Davidson River at the end of August, and we'll be drilling Davidson all through September and into October. A great time to have results coming out. We'll be marketing, putting out corporate videos from site, and be lots of information to the market. On top of that, Sean and I have got, conferences we're attending at the end of September in Ontario, the CEM conference, and then we'll be heading into Europe on the back of our drilling to have a few marketing roadshows through Europe, and then back into North America again. So strong marketing plan, great exploration program happening at the same time. So it's a great time to keep your eyeballs on Standard Uranium.
Well, with that, we will conclude today's presentation with Standard Uranium. I want to thank Sean and Jon again for joining us and sharing the story with our wider audience. I'm going to give you about 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 seconds to a minute to just close it out, tell the audience how they can reach out to you, and yeah, thank you again.
Thank you, Jimmy. Well, this slide you're looking at right now gives us all our contact information. So please reach out to us through an email or give us set up a phone call. We'll be happy to further explore this with you. Once again, you can find videos of us. We post a lot of stuff on social media, especially when we're active at site. So we can also look on our website with lots of future and upcoming news, lots of previous news releases, and lots of video content. You can go back and see what we've been doing for the past few years to see how active we've been on the exploration program. Once again, it's Jon Bey and Sean Heliker from Standard Uranium, thanking Trinity Financial, Jimmy, and Trinity herself for setting this up. And we look forward to talking to you again. Take care, everyone.